You've got a pair of organs in your body working 24/7, filtering your entire blood supply over and over again. And chances are, you barely give them a second thought. Well, maybe you should. Today, we're diving deep into your kidneys. But what if I told you they were more than just filters? What if they were actually your body's master controllers, meticulously managing the delicate internal balance that keeps you alive? Let's take a closer look at how they pull off this incredible feat.
So to really understand what happens when kidneys get into trouble, we first have to appreciate what their main job is: keeping a perfect, life-sustaining balance inside your body. It's a concept with a pretty important name.
And that name? It's homeostasis. Basically, your kidneys are constantly making choices: what to keep and what to toss out. They make sure you have just the right amount of water, the right levels of salts like sodium and potassium, and that your blood isn't too acidic or too alkaline. They are, without a doubt, the ultimate quality control system.
And this slide, it just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got a healthy, balanced system. What comes in gets processed and the extra stuff is removed. Simple. But on the right, when the kidneys are impaired, that balance is totally thrown off. Waste and fluids start to build up, and that affects literally every single system in your body. So how does this critical balance get broken? Well, it can happen in two very different ways. One story starts with an attack from the outside, and the other from a flaw deep within.
Let's start with our first story. It begins with an outside invader, a common bacterium that gets into the urinary tract and decides to, well, travel north, climbing its way right up towards the kidneys.
This upward assault has a name: pyelonephritis. Now, it is a kidney infection, but what's really key here is where it comes from. It's almost always a complication of a lower urinary tract infection that just wasn't stopped in its tracks. The bacteria literally ascend from the bladder, turning a fairly simple problem into something much, much more serious.
And here's how it all goes down. It's like a chain reaction. The microbes invade, and your body, of course, sounds the alarm, kicking off a massive inflammatory response. But here's the catch. The battle itself can cause some serious collateral damage. The healing process can leave behind scar tissue or fibrosis. And this isn't healthy, flexible tissue. No, it's rigid, and it physically messes up the kidney's tiny filtering tubes. So, kind of ironically, the body's own defense ends up hurting the very thing it was trying to protect. And when this happens, believe me, your body lets you know in a big way. This isn't some minor inconvenience, it's a full-on body crisis. We're talking a sudden high fever, horrible pain in your back or side, and a racing heart. It's a huge, systemic response to a very serious infection. Okay, so now, let's switch gears completely, from an external invader to a threat that actually comes from within.
Right, so not all threats to the kidneys come from the outside world. Sometimes, the problem is written right into our own genetic code. It's like a blueprint for a malfunction that's been there from the very beginning.
And this is polycystic kidney disease, or PKD. It's a genetic disorder where the instructions for building the tiny filters in the kidneys, the nephrons, just go totally haywire. Instead of normal tissue, the kidneys develop countless fluid-filled cysts that just relentlessly grow, year after year.
And to help you picture this, it's a pretty powerful image. These cysts aren't just one or two. They completely overwhelm the kidney until, as one source puts it, they look like large clusters of grapes, which just crowd out and destroy all the healthy, working tissue.
To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this, think about this for a second. A normal kidney is about the size of your fist, but a kidney with advanced PKD, it can swell to the size of a football and weigh 10 pounds, or even more. Just imagine the immense pressure and damage that causes inside your body. So there we have it, two totally different stories. On one hand, an external attack by bacteria. On the other, an internal, inherited malfunction. Now, both paths lead to a damaged master filter, but because their origins are worlds apart, the way you fight back has to be just as distinct.
So, with two such different problems, how in the world do you go about restoring kidney health? Well, the answer is you have to target the root cause, because you just can't fight a bacterial infection the same way you manage a lifelong genetic condition.
And you can see here the difference in strategy is just stark. With the infection, the goal is pretty straightforward: wipe out the bacteria with antibiotics. It's a direct, targeted attack. But for the genetic condition, PKD, there is no cure, so the entire goal shifts to playing defense. You want to slow down the cyst growth and manage all the complications. And for PKD patients, one complication stands above all the rest as the most critical one to control.
And that common enemy is high blood pressure. See, in PKD, the growing cysts literally squeeze the kidney's blood vessels. This triggers the body to raise blood pressure, which, and here's the terrible part, damages the kidneys even faster. It becomes this vicious cycle. So controlling blood pressure is one of the most powerful tools we have to slow down the disease and save whatever kidney function is left.
You know, all of this really brings us to a much bigger question. We've seen how absolutely critical blood pressure is in PKD, but hypertension is also the second leading cause of kidney failure overall. So as we get better at managing things like heart disease, is protecting our body's master filters our next great public health challenge? Maybe it's time we stop thinking of our kidneys as these unsung heroes and started treating them like the absolute superstars they really are.